Okay.
Can I see about your picture?
Yes, please.
Jasmine Crockett recently.
Jasmine Crockett.
Why they all?
Remember-
Wait. Why did they all start laughing immediately? Hey, what? That's the ultimate sign of disrespect. Let me just say this right away. The ultimate sign of disrespect is that when they first mentioned Jasmine Crockett's name, everybody in the room just started laughing. Dog, I would be like, man, don't nobody respect me? Everybody in the room just started laughing. Hold on. That didn't happen.
Okay.
Can I see about your picture?
Yes, please.
Jasmine Crockett recently.
Jasmine Crockett.
Why did all of the guys start laughing in the room? Man, I would be aggravated. Like, oh, y'all don't respect me, huh?
Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson between her and Ilhan, Omar, and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he didn't want her. He said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
Oh, dog, that is crazy. No, he didn't just say that, bro. Trump is the realest ever, bro. That's my prayers right there, man. Honestly, that's my president right there. I'm so happy to be living in 2025 and seeing how he's reacting to these situations. Yo, this is so disrespectful. This is almost like I just don't even really take them serious. You know how it's opponents that may get under your skin, or you like, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I ain't, that person, this and that, so on and so forth, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And it's that type of situation. Whereas when he's talking about them, it's like, oh, we just gonna crack some jokes on them. We laugh about them. We play their videos and we think that they are hilarious. And Ilhan, Omar and Jasmine Crockett, it's almost like they know that they never gonna be a threat. They know that they never gonna have no power. They'll never be able to go any further than where they are right now. And so we just gonna laugh at them and we gonna joke about them, and we not really gonna take them serious.
Go ahead. Let's hear what Crockett said. Go ahead.
She compared ICE raids to slave patrol. I want to ask you.
To slave?
To slave patrol. I want to ask you if you think that there should be consequences for members of Congress who make these types of comparisons or use this type of language.
Well, I think she's gone over the line, and I think a lot of the people. Look, the Democrats have become radical left lunatics. They have policies that nobody's going to buy. And, I see what's going on in New York. We're going to have perhaps a communist mayor because it's split up. You know, if the people would get together and have one candidate, they'd have, I think, a pretty good chance. But it looks like maybe they're not going to do that. But we're going to end up with a communist mayor. It's not even believable, my beautiful New York. When I left New York to become president, it was a great place. But it was the beginning of bad things because we had de Blasio. Had just started as mayor, and I said, this guy's a real nut job. Went to Harvard to teach management. Can you believe it? He went to Harvard to teach city management along with the mayor of Chicago, who went to Harvard to teach. The two of them are teaching how to manage a city manage it into hell is what they do. But that was the beginning, and now we're going to go a step further. Now we're going with the communists. Can I be honest? I think it's the greatest thing to ever happen to the Republican Party. I really do. I think if a communist takes over New York City, I think that's a gift to the Republican Party. It's sad for New York, but it's a gift. And New York will recover because sometimes you need a shock like that to straighten you out. But it's politically, it's probably a very good thing.
And that's true. I think that we experienced it here in Detroit. They're experiencing it right now in Chicago and Los Angeles. It's amazing how a lot of these people, and in the state of Michigan, because I remember when Governor Granholm was running Michigan, and now Gretchen Whitmer. With every time we get two women in there, for whatever reason, two white women in there that are super liberal, and they always are Democrats. They just run things to hell. Governor Granholm, she went on to go and teach at some major university, and then she became a part of Biden's cabinet. Whitmer, I'm sure she has great plans after she leaves. Pretty sure it's not going to be the president of the United States of America. But the reality is that it's almost like they get rewarded for doing such a bad job in managing. And now you got Zoran Mamdani over there, and he's preaching communism and socialism over in New York, and is going to completely ruin the entire state and run every single millionaire and billionaire out of there, which basically creates a death loop for the city. And then obviously we see what's happening over in Chicago and Los Angeles, which, of course, you got Jasmine Crockett, which is supposed to be the subject of this whole conversation. But she's such a joke that Trump don't even take her serious, and he just be laughing at her. Him and his friends is literally just laughing at Jasmine Crockett.
Immigration, crime, and the World Cup, actually. So
That's a lot of.
You have a number of cities that are pushing back against your immigration deportation move, as well as your crime initiatives. Some of those cities.
I don't think they're very much
But
pushing.
some of those
back.
cities have World Cup games.
Yeah.
Seattle, San Francisco.
They're going to be very. They're going to be very secure.
But could those games move if they don't cooperate with your crime push?
Well, that's an interesting. I guess, but we're going to make sure they're safe. They're run by radical left lunatics and that don't know what they're doing. Look at Washington, D.C. I just got numbers. There's like no crime in Washington, D.C. You, Jeff, will not be mugged walking down the street. You can walk down the street with your family. You can walk down your street with your wife, your daughter, your son, and you're not going to be. We took out 1,700 career criminals that we're not allowing back. And we have this city in great shape. You know, there was a time when not long ago, when every single week you'd have at least one murder.
And I haven't heard anything out of Washington, D.C. since they took over and stopped the crime over in D.C. That's pretty crazy.
Look what's happening with Washington. It's safe. I went to dinner in Washington just to prove a point. I gave a press conference in the middle of a street. I wouldn't say Secret Service was thrilled, but I did it, and here I am. Look, Washington, D.C. is such a great example of what can be done. We did it in 12 days. We made it very safe in 12 days, and now it's much safer than that. One other thing, I drove around Washington over the weekend, and I said, look at the difference. The grass looked great. Everything looked great. You know, we had a lot of our National Guard, and we didn't ask them to do it. They did it themselves. They're proud. They're great. And they were picking up paper. They were cleaning. The place looked really beautiful. So we have a great Washington, D.C. We, as you probably know, we're going into Memphis, and we're going into some other cities, and very soon we're going to go into Chicago. It will be safe for the World Cup. If I think it isn't safe, we'll move it into a different city. Absolutely, we'll take the world. If I think it's not, it's actually a very fair question. If I think it's not safe, we're going to move it out of that city. If, like the governor of Illinois, who is, you know, look, between last week and the week before, 11 murders, and 38 people were shot. Then he gets up and he says, this is a very safe, and then he says crime is better. The reason crime is better is because Cash put, about 5 months ago, a whole team of FBI people there to get ready for when we go in, and they've lowered it a little bit, you know, like 25%, which isn't good enough, but it's a good start. But that was only put there because
they got the ICE agents, FBI's assistant ICE agents, and HSI over in Illinois and Chicago,
preparing for us to go in. And they've done, by the way, they've done a good job. So then Pritzker gets up, we've lowered crime 25, it's because the FBI was there. So, no, if any city we think is going to be even a little bit dangerous for the World Cup, or for the Olympics, you know, where they have Olympic overthrow, right? But for the World Cup in particular, because they're playing in so many cities, we won't allow it to go to, we'll move it around a little bit. But
make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Let me know what y'all think about Trump speaking about Ilhan Omar. What's her name? Jasmine Crockett. And then the rest of the issues that he talked about. I love you. I appreciate y'all. Can't wait to see what y'all say inside of the comments.